Listen, I didn't buy the microwave. I found it. In a little cubbyhole above the shower when I moved into this place. Along with a bag of stale grass and a space heater that works. And smells like burnt dust and dry heat. It smells like nostalgia. The microwave works too. Works in the sense that it's a metal box that turns cold pizza into hot pizza. But, well, the sound this thing makes to let you know the slice is hot borders on violating the Geneva Convention. And it's a cold day in hell when I let my vibe be checked by a microwave, so I think a few modifications are in order. This microwave, and lots of other low-cost devices that require audible feedback to the user, uses a piezoelectric buzzer to generate sound. These exploit the piezoelectric effect, where a voltage placed across certain crystals will cause them to ever so slightly change shape. Attach one of these crystals to some kind of diaphragm, apply an oscillating voltage, and the minuscule shape change is amplified to produce pressure waves in the air strong enough to be interpreted by our brains as this god-awful beep. Now in general, I think most devices that use this type of beeper are fine. They're not too loud and they're not too piercing. And they have some key advantages. They're small, cheap, and can be driven using a very simple circuit. No need for a complicated audio processing system, just have your 10-cent microcontroller put a 2 kHz square wave across a transistor, and you've got a beep. It's not so much the loudness of this microwave that bothers me, it's more the frequency. The timbre, the mood, the attitude of the beep that gets me. It's too harsh, too aggressive, too angry. I know that I'm a bad person microwaving a dinner of pizza rolls for the third night in a row. I don't need the damn microwave to drive that point home. So here's the plan. PJRC, the makers of my favorite microcontroller, recently came out with an I2S audio shield that I've been wanting to try out. It allows audio clips to be played and even mixed programmatically, so it seems perfect for this project. I figure I'll hook that up to a little speaker and use a teensy to detect when the microwave is supposed to beep, and instead play some pre-recorded audio clips. Sound design is not my wheelhouse, so just for fun I commissioned a talented Ukrainian sound engineer for the new and improved microwave noises. And these turned out great. Be sure to hit up the homie Mark Shewedo on Fiverr for all your appliance modifying needs. So I've been poking around on Amazon, and it turns out that speakers are pretty cheap. I'm thinking now, how funny would it be if I put a proper sound system in the microwave? Do stereo speakers, a woofer, maybe even like an aux-in. Make it like a boombox. A microwave boombox. Definitely straying into the territory of the absurd, but what the hell. I'm in the mood for a walk. The first step is to figure out how to make the teensy know when to play a sound. My plan is to let it tap off this 2 kHz square wave that's already going to the beeper, interrupt on the rising edge to keep track of how many pulses it has seen to differentiate between the short beep when a button is pressed and the long beep that means the food is ready. Then it should be a pretty easy task to just trigger the audio shield to play one sound clip or the other. I can fit the woofer in this empty cavity at the bottom of the frame. The mid-range pair, on the other hand, is going to be a little harder. I think I can put them over here, but this fan that keeps the magnetron cool is going to have to move. I think if I swap it for one of these low-profile PC fans, I should have enough space to fit them. The dependencies are getting a little deep here, but I have a vision. I can see the end product. All to do now, but sit back and enjoy the process. PJRC put together an awesome utility to set up pipelines used with their audio shield. For this application, I have two inputs. Beep is the stored audio clips for the button press and food ready sounds, and aux in is the external headphone jack for music input. I can then use these two-channel mixers to add the signals together so the beep sound and music can play at the same time, each with an adjustable gain. My vision is like the way a GPS app interacts with music in your car. You can be jamming out to some tunes on the microwave, but when you press a button or the food is ready, it will fade the music out and play the other sound over it. Alright, I've hit a little snag. Trying to measure the square wave with the Teensy and audio shield connected to the same ground as the microwave is causing havoc. I've got noise and interference all over the audio lines, and the Teensy is loading the signal line from the microwave. What I really want is to have the Teensy and all the audio stuff on a... Yeah, this is all super boring. Basically, there was an issue with the way I had things wired, so I added an opto-isolator in hopes that it would fix things. And it did. The opto-isolator worked a treat. But I only had one, so I had to make a bootleg version with an LED, a photodiode, some epoxy, and a piece of heat shrink to sense the control signal that turns the fan on. The audio shield is connected to a 2.1 channel amp that drives the speakers. It's all working on a breadboard, so time to solder everything on some copper clad and start installing it in the microwave. The last step is to cut the metal case to fit the speakers. I figured metal shears would work well for cutting these internal circles, and with a pilot hole and a little help from a rasp, they did. After desoldering the volume and bass pots from the amp and mounting them on the front panel along with the aux jack, the microwave boombox is complete. I can listen to my favorite copyright-free music, nuke a slice, and be given naught but the most pleasant reminder when it's hot. Why? What was the point of all of this? I didn't have to go this far, take things to this level of absurdity. Could have just left it with the modified beep sound, hell with this whole aux jack thing, or hell with the whole amp and speaker setup. Could have just put a cheap little project speaker inside the shell, would have done the trick. Or lose the whole microcontroller sound processor and just take out the buzzer. Or do nothing. Just deal with having an annoying microwave. I mean, it was free, right? There are worse fates. But if I didn't build the microcontroller sound processor, I never would have learned about the I2S digital sound protocol, or how to set up an audio mixer pipeline, or how to write a fast enough interrupt architecture to handle analyzing the buzzer drive signal from the microwave. And if I hadn't set up this amp, I would have never learned the importance of amplifying a signal as close to the source as possible to reduce noise. If I hadn't installed the speakers in the side of the microwave, I would have never learned that metal shears come in right and left hand cutting versions. And if I had left well enough alone and never opened the microwave in the first place, I never would have learned that microwaves use the 60 Hz frequency of the mains power grid as a pseudo clock pulse to keep the time in sync, because the internal oscillators and the chips used in these things drift, and an external crystal would probably double the BOM cost of this board. All of these things are like puzzle pieces. Little miscellaneous bits of information you pick up by just messing around, having fun. Playing, in other words. You never really know when they're going to come in handy in the so-called real world. Never know where in the puzzle they're going to fit, but when you do find a place for one of them, it's good. Faster and more poignant than research, than knowledge even, these are more like raw intuition. Intuition from play. And this depth of knowledge and insight in a broad and diverse set of fields that I've gathered from playing, just screwing around, is one of the most valuable things that I own. And it's probably gotten me at least as far in life as my formal education has. Sometimes the question why doesn't really have a good answer, or at least a simple answer. Sometimes it's worth it to just start down a road, to hell where it leads, and just look for puzzle pieces.